Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Love Your Vibe podcast. I'm your host, Sean Robert Grant, and I'm happy to always be here with you. Let's just take a moment. I want to move my necklaces around. Was jiggling on one of the other episodes, so don't want that to happen at this point. But let's get that. Take care of that. Should have done that beforehand. Okay, perfect. We're good. So let's just take a moment to really step into gratitude, step into excitement and joy for not only the idea, but the truth that we have life. We have life right now at this moment. Whenever you get the opportunity to listen to this. But you have the greatest gift of all, and that gift is life. Okay? So just take a moment to really think about that and really feel into that gratitude. And the reason this is so important is because when you realize how precious of a gift that life is to us each and every day, each and every moment, each and every year, what tends to happen is you don't waste it, right? I talked so much about this yesterday on the Manifestation podcast that I do, and it really hit home for me in understanding and recognizing that the truth of it all is we get life, right? We get life. And you get a clean slate every single day until you don't, right? And that means that you get to make it whatever you desire. You get to live your life however you choose. And get this is the most important part of all. It is not contingent upon anything outside of you. Let that sink in. I'm going to say it one more time. It is not contingent upon anything else outside of you. Okay? And the reason I said that twice, because I really want you to know that you can make the most of your life no matter what job you're working in, right? Preferably you don't want to be in a job that you hate, but no matter where you are job-wise, no matter how much money you have, no matter where you are in a relationship, if you're single, complicated, married, whatever it is, no matter what state your health is in, you can make life epic, right? And it just comes down to rising above all of the noise, okay? It just comes to rising above all of the noise. And so when I say noise, all I'm indicating is that you rise above any and everything that is not divine truth. Okay? And to simplify that, because we need like 5 episodes to really get down to it, divine truth is just perfection of life. So life, God, the all that is, the universe, it just is. One thing that came to me this morning during my quiet time and in my meditation was the truth that nothing in life has any meaning until we give it. And human beings have the capacity, the urge, the desire to identify everything and give it meaning. And so some things, it makes sense. Some things it's pretty normal to be able to do that, to want to do that. But it should never be at the cost of your peace, at the cost of your joy, at the cost of your happiness, right? And so there's certain things that we give meaning to that all of a sudden become attachments, and they ruin our lives, and they tear us apart, because the thing is our mind was created to help us to identify real threats. Capital REAL. Real threats, real fear. Okay? What does that mean? Real fear comes down to all of a sudden you're walking down the street and you realize a lion just broke out from the zoo. And this is a crazy example, but a lion just broke out from the zoo and he starts running towards you. That's real fear, right? That's real fear. The other fear, the fabricated fear, is simply the fear of what could potentially happen but has not happened yet. Before I get into our topic today, I really want you to think about, in anything in life, no matter what it is, in every single area, take an account as to what that thing really is and what we think it is or could possibly be. And watch how different it becomes. And here's why. The mind is always in a position to attempt to control and gain possession of, and always has this self-interest in everything that we get involved with, right? Everything we get involved with, the mind always has that tendency. And so what does it do? At any point in time, because it once it poses something as a threat, right? And it can be absolutely anything. Like, I can remember sometimes even going to the grocery store when I was living in this kind of frame of mind and consciousness, going to the grocery store and then all of a sudden feeling threatened that I wouldn't have enough money to pay the rest of my bills just off going to the grocery store and spending $50 to $60, right? Like, and to someone who, even to myself now, it seems crazy, but that's the reality of when your mind dictates how you live, because your mind finds everything to fear. It finds everything to take control of or seem in control. It finds everything to think of the absolute worst, right? And so that leads me into today's topic. And if you look at the title, you'll see that I put think in quotes, right? It talks about surrendering to our true self as opposed to the lie that we think that we are, okay? And so the lie, let's start with the lie, what the lie is. The lie is that you're an identity. The lie is that you are a person. The lie is that you are a feeling, you are a thought, you are an emotion, you are an object, you are a phenomena. And this was transforming for me, because I used to always use the word phenomenal, but what phenomena means is something that can be perceived. And the truth of the matter is, anything that can be perceived, for the most part, can be changed, can dissolve, can fall away, So with that being the way that it is, why get so tied up into something that is going to eventually dissipate, right? Why get so tied up into something that is going to be no longer be in a matter of time, And I think back to the example of, there was a guy, this billionaire, who spent all of his time building his fortune of $7.6 billion. He got cancer, and he literally died soon after. And he wrote this letter. I think it's still floating around on Facebook. You probably can Google it. The guy's name is Steve something. Anyway, he looks like a nice guy, but he basically came to the realization of what really mattered and understood that like the whole time he spent building his fortune, the entire time he spent missing out on life, right? So I'm not saying that you don't have to have, enough money to do the things that you love. No, that's a part of living, in congruence with your true, authentic self, right? What I'm saying is you don't have to run after it. You don't have to make it always the idea or make it something, as we talked about yesterday, that you have to do, because then you close life out. You close out the divine from bringing you the joy that allows you to be the very best that you can be, right? And I had to get through this problem because until I decided to leave the lie, and once again, before I go into what I was about to say, the lie is just basically that you are the ego, and the ego, you are not. You are God. You are the all that is. You are the ever-present divine essence. You are love. That's what you are, because all that is, right? It has no meaning, no concerns. It's pure love, pure joy, pure peace, and more importantly, pure freedom. That is your true self. That is what you are. And all you have to do is recognize it, because it's already present. Once you recognize it, it becomes available for you, right? It becomes available to you. And there's a great story. I'm like all over the place this morning. Great story I want to share with you that I heard from this spiritual leader. His name is Muji. And I'm reading his book right now, but he had an amazing story. He said, there was this man who respected his friend very much. And this man had made an extreme amount of money through an investment. And he didn't trust his wife with finances at the time, and he didn't trust his son because he felt like his son was really spoiled. And so he told his friend, I'm going to bury this money under the house, but I'm only telling you. I'm giving you the opportunity to let them know where it is at the right time, okay? And his friend agreed, and so his friend left, went off. I think he was gone for like a few years. He came back. The woman and the son were homeless. Came to find out the guy had died. The guy who made the money for the investment had died 2 years ago. And his friend came back and saw that, and he's like, oh my goodness, there's no need for you to be homeless. Like, I know what can help you out. And he told him about the money, and he said immediately their entire demeanor changed. You could tell their feeling went from despair to one of all of a sudden, oh my gosh, we're rich, And so he took them back to the house. They dug up the money. They heard this box, this clinking noise. They opened the box, and it was basically, money for a lifetime, right? Or like 2 lifetimes. It was a whole bunch of money that he had buried there. And so the moral of the story is, were these people rich before they found the treasure, even though the treasure was lying underneath the house, right? So I don't think they were necessarily homeless, but they were actually begging. That's the idea right there. So I kind of messed that up a bit. But so they were actually begging on the street. They weren't homeless, though. But the question was, were these people rich when they were unaware that the money was underneath the house? And the answer is no, because it's no good to have perfection within you and to be completely unaware of it, or to have that treasure underneath the surface and you're unaware of it, right? It's like having an account where the assets are frozen and you can't move anything. It does you no good. And so he kind of related this to the idea that this is what it comes down to when we're realizing our true, authentic self, right? Is that treasure is there waiting to be discovered, waiting to be dug up, rather, so we can embrace it. And once we embrace it, then it becomes the truth of our existence. And when I talk about true self, I'm talking about the idea that you are everything you wish to be. You are everything you could desire. The concept of God means all that is, and that means everything. In all 99 universes, it means everything. That is you, and that's inside of you. You are God expressing as himself or herself, right? And so what tends to happen when you tap into that and you just realize it, there's a joy that comes over you. There's a peace that comes over you, right? There's the idea that all of a sudden I feel so fulfilled because I have exactly everything that I need. I'm not controlling things. I'm not needing approval. I'm not feeling like I'm lacking for anything. And it's this very essence that is within you, and all you need to do is surrender to it. My prayer pretty much every day is I surrender to my true, authentic self. I surrender to the truth of who I really am. I surrender all resistance to my true self. And you know what tends to happens? The veil comes down. The veil breaks. The veil of ego, of mind breaks. And then I realize every time when I'm not in alignment with Source, and it puts me right back in. And then I get to a place, something that promotes that fabricated threat, all of a sudden can come up, and my true self will step in. Remember who you are. Remember what you are. This is of no concern to you because it's already taken care of. Truth is perfection, right? Jesus said, I am the truth, I am the way, I am the life. And basically, he wasn't talking about Jesus, the person. He was talking about the Christ consciousness, which is another name for the authentic self. And what he meant was, through that Christ consciousness, there's nothing to stress over. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to be concerned about because I am everything. And I am, period. You only have to have everything. Just I am encompasses it all. And it's just a matter of surrendering to that. And when you surrender to it, when you let go of the lie of ego and you surrender to the true self, all of a sudden you find life begins to work for you. Things start to manifest quickly. You start to get such deep intuitive insight that you almost feel like, wait a minute, am I psychic? For the last few days, I've been able to predict stuff before it happens. I've been able to realize truth before stuff unfolds. And I'm not saying it because like all of a sudden I'm going to be the next Miss Cleo, but I'm saying it like this is what unfolds when truth becomes your highest priority. When your prayer is not bring me $1 million, but your prayer is allow me to live in truth. Allow me to surrender to my true self and let life bring me what it will that is in congruence with my heart's desire. And from there, look out. Because guess what? You're not attached to anything outside of you. And it's the first thing I said, that when you do this, you don't become attached to anything outside yourself, right? All of a sudden, everything you need, you already have. And then guess what? All the other stuff starts to show up because what is it? Life, right? Life has to mirror consciousness. To be the last thing I tell you, life has to mirror your consciousness. If life is not giving you what you feel like you need to be getting, or you can feel like you internally can be happy about, you need to shift your consciousness. Because the truth of the matter is, you're living in a state full of anxiety. You're living in a state full of fear. You're living in worry. Get back to peace. Get back to freedom. Get back to joy. Get back to love. And do it easily by surrendering to your true, authentic self. And that's all it takes. Surrender. Simple surrender. Done deal. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful Tuesday. We will talk soon. Take care.